Hello, and you're very welcome to the BT Sports Studios for a very special night of rugby discussion and debate, all about the 2021 British and Irish Lions. Now, with the tour of South Africa coming up in the summer, everyone is talking about who deserves to start the first test in Johannesburg on July the 24th. And we're going to do exactly the same thing, but just with a little bit of a twist. I am joined by some legendary British and Irish Lions in the studio here. Let me introduce them, starting with Lions number 661 with 3 test caps, Lawrence Dallaglio. Lions number 724 with 2 test caps, Geordan Murphy. Lions number 731 with 2 test caps, Ben Kay. And Lions number 800 with 5 test caps, former Lions captain Sam Warburton. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Sam, ready for this big challenge?
Yeah, good. I'm trying to get myself in the mindset, because everyone's like picking their teams based on perhaps who plays like the sexiest rugby, but it's actually what's going to win in South Africa and what Gatland wants as well. So it's trying to sort of take away what you personally might think, but what Warren and the selectors are going to think. So I'm trying to get myself in that sort of mindset. And I'd like to think I'd know what he's trying to look for.
Geordie, are you ready for the guys to start nicking your players and ruining your strategy?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the most challenging thing. I think, everyone has a mindset of what team they want to pick, but when the players start disappearing, we're going to have to work on the hoof and try and pick up the best next positions available.
Act and react. That's the key, act and react, because these guys will be going head-to-head against each other in a draft challenge where they have to build the best 15 they possibly can from a pool of players available for line selection, give or take a few injuries. Now, we're going to find out just how hard that is in the infamous line selection room, a real taste of what it's like behind the scenes. Of course, like any good competitive fixture, there must be a knowledgeable, impartial, ideally suave man in the middle to make the decisions. We couldn't find one, but Ali Eakin was looking for his Oyster card in the canteen, and he came in to help us out. Thanks for coming in and helping us all out. It's tough, Val, because you're going to have 4 great teams and you've got to pick one. You've got to pick the team that goes to South Africa based on what they say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the impartial bit. Whether I'm going to be happy enough telling these Lions legends about their terrible selections is another question altogether, I think. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. Big prize at stake, obviously, the BT Sport Lions Fantasy Draft Trophy and Little Bill here as well. Big honours there to win, and really looking forward to seeing what these guys come up with. But before we start, I think we should basically take a check on the rules. Here they are. Welcome to the BT Sport Lions Fantasy Draft. 4 selectors will pick in a traditional snake draft format for 15 rounds until we have 4 full 15-a-side squads. The order of the selectors will be determined by answering a quiz question. Each team must include the following positions: 1 loose head, 1 hooker, 1 tight head, 2 second rows, 3 back rows, a scrum half, a fly half, 2 centres, 2 wings and 1 fullback. Players can only be picked for 1 position, and once a player is selected, they cannot be picked for another team. There'll be a 20-second time limit to make your selection, except for the first 2 rounds when there will be no time limit. There are 2 wild cards per selector, which must be played for 2 of the 15 picks. The legend wild card. A British and Irish Lions legend from any tour in Lions history. The Bolter wild card. A player not currently playing for England, Ireland, Scotland or Wales in the most recent Six Nations campaign. Wild cards can be played at any stage in the draft. Final teams will be presented to an impartial adjudicator, and the BT Sport Lions Fantasy Draft 2021 champion will be crowned. So I hope that's clear. Lol, let's start with you. Have you got a strategy, a plan, a master plan?
Well, I'm glad I'm sat next to Geordie, because he's the only one who's actually had to pick a team in his life. He's the only coach amongst the 4 of us, so might have a quick look over my shoulder. But no, I think the selection, when you bear in mind the opposition, South Africa, I think the tight 5 is going to be quite crucial. Props and second rows. Obviously, there's a number of positions where there's real quality all the way through. So, and when and where to play your legend or your bolter.
Yeah, that's going to be key, isn't it? Ben, do you have a plan in place for your bolter wildcards?
No, it depends a bit on where everyone else goes, but certainly your legend's a bit different. You've got a lot more to choose from, but you probably don't want to shoot your bolter too early.
Thank you very much. Well, we're looking forward to when exactly that happens. And I think probably we should listen to a man now who knows a little bit about selection. He's a man who's about to go on his 6th Lions tour in all. 2 as a player, 4 as a coach. Here's Neil Jenkins.
Jenks, first of all, exciting times. I mean, what are the excitement levels for you as a veteran of these trips now?
It's always a pleasure to put this badge on your chest. It's the ultimate honour as far as I'm concerned, and to be able to go on another tour to South Africa again, another humongous test for us against the world champions. So, and as you said, it's something that it's not too far away now. So it's incredibly exciting, and really looking forward to it.
If I'm a selector, Neil, what am I looking for? Could you boil it down to 3 things?
Look, you've got to be willing to meet these guys head on. It's plain and simple. So the physicality presence is going to be one. I think a lot of the guys that are going to go on this tour are going to be experienced test match players more often than not. That's the majority of the squad, and would have played against South Africa, whether it be in South Africa or whether it be in their home venue. So and they know what to expect against these guys. To be willing to open their mind, maybe accept there's going to be some new things for them in terms of what they've, what they got in their home countries, and hopefully buy into what the Lions is all about.
And what about form, Neil? How significant is form in terms of the selection of the players, and particularly, I guess, the form that we've just seen in the Six Nations?
There's no doubt form plays a part. There's common sense. I think that guys who've played well in the Six Nations just gone, it does play a huge part. There's no doubt in that, and form for their region or their club or whoever it may be. That's certainly important. And but there's some players as well that have been there, done it. They might not. Some of them maybe have had the best Six Nations, but the experience speaks for itself.
Fantastic, Jenks. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Right, that's the end of the talking. Let's get into the action. Let's get into this draft by deciding the order in which our selectors will choose their team. Now, all our selectors have a piece of card and a pen. And on my call, they will show me the answers to the following question. Willie John McBride has the highest number of Lions Test caps. How many caps did he win? The great Willie John McBride, 20 seconds starting now. What a legend he was, Al.
Yeah, decent.
Willie John, decent. Interviewed him there a year or 2 ago. Looks like he'd still knock down a wall for you. Big old dude. Lovely man. 8 seconds. Willie John McBride, how many Lions caps did he win? And the clock is at 0. Lawrence, your answer, please. 15 says Lawrence. Geordie. 11 says Geordie. 16 says Ben. And 12 says Sam. Well, the closest is Ben with 16, 17 test caps. So Ben, you'll be first up, then Lawrence, then Sam, and then Geordie. That is the order. Okay, let's get the show on the road. Remember, there is no time limit on the first 2 rounds of our draft, and our first selector is Ben. So the floor is yours. The greatest players, for the most part in the Northern Hemisphere, are up for selection. Benny, take your pick.
Well, we saw what happened to England in the final of the Rugby World Cup. I think to beat South Africa, you're going to have a pretty decent set piece, and they're going to attack at the scrum. So I'm going to go with my tight head prop first. I know it's not the most exciting, but this guy, the way he plays, is very exciting. A lot of defenders beaten, and I am going to go for Tadhg Furlong.
Tadhg Furlong, yeah, good choice. Interesting you go tight head first of all, though, Benny. A lot of people would think you go your 9 or your 10 first or your 8.
Yeah, I just think it's a key position. He adds a lot around the field, but that scrum's going to be all important. So definitely wanted to get a tight head in there early.
As you can see on the screen, when Ben chose Tadhg Furlong, who was stunning for Leinster, of course, this season in winning their Pro 14 title, their name disappears from the draft list. So he would have been a very, very popular choice. He is now gone. He is selected. He is on the plane. Lawrence, your first choice, please.
Yeah, I was going to pick Tadhg Furlong. I'm not just saying that. I think it's a really important position. But I'm going to start with the captain. I'm going to pick the great Alan Wynne-Jones. I think he deserves not only to start the Test match, but also I think leadership, not just as a player, but as a human being off the field is going to be as important as on the field in this particular Test series. So I'm going to go with Alan Wynne-Jones.
It's interesting you mentioned that. We all know how good the guy is on the field, but you're away for a long time together. You need a very kind of certain personality to succeed on tour on that front, don't you?
Yeah, well, look, if you look at the previous Lions tours to South Africa, we've mentioned Willie John McBride already, mentioned the great Martin Johnson. It's just the right fit for captain. I couldn't put a whole team down without picking my captain first, and he's the man. I think particularly in South Africa, that forward domination, you cannot afford a backward step. And also in terms of, as I said, looking after the squad, it's going to be a difficult tour. They may not be allowed out the hotel very often, and there's going to have to be a cohesiveness, and I just think he's the man.
Sam, you're doing a lot of writing. Shopping list? Are you picking a team, or what's happening then there?
No, I thought there was like 6 bankers in the team, and 2 of them have gone already. So I'm quickly reshuffling things. I was going to go Furlong for my first pick, because I think it's one of the positions with the least amount of strength and depth. But one of my other bankers is going to be at number 8, and that's going to be Toby Faletau. So I would like to select Toby Faletau, please.
Toby Faletau. Yeah, when you picture Toby Faletau, Sam, I know the first image is him in a lined shirt for a lot of people out there, isn't it?
I remember somebody said to me in the autumn series just gone, Toby's miles off. And I said, if you think he's going to have a quiet Six Nations, you're mad. He always turns up on the big occasion, always. He's just such a classy number 8, and you put 2 physical flankers either side of him, just allow him to do his thing and just play naturally. I think as an actual player, probably one of, if not the most gifted player I've ever played with. So he's a banker for me.
Tough. Geordie, fourth pick. That little touch from Toby Faletau, by the way, a couple of weeks ago in the Premiership. Did you know he had that in his game?
Yeah, look, he's got the total package, really. He's physical, he can do all of that, and he can handle it, offload the ball very, very well as well. So, those 3 selections were obviously all shoe-ins, and everyone's going to talk about the physicality that's going to be needed in South Africa today. But I'm going to belie that by sort of selecting someone a little bit outside of it and another shoe-in for it. I'm going to choose the fullback, that is Stuart Hogg.
Stuart Hogg, yeah. I mean, look, the guy is sensational. The second half against Leinster, unbelievable performance from him. We saw his true colours then, didn't we?
Oh, look, the way he played in the Six Nations against England, I thought he was so composed. Diffusing that aerial game is going to be important. His boot is going to be big. Particularly putting the ball into the corners against South Africa and giving some territory to the Lions is going to be huge. And again, it's strange that my first selection is in the backs, but I think that's going to be an important position.
Well, you pick what you know best first, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Good stuff. Good start, lads. Good start. Already the big names just been taken off that list. The gaps are appearing. And very soon we're going to have a 20-second time limit for them to make their choices. And when the names disappear, the jeopardy's going to get higher and higher. It's all going to get very exciting. Already gone Hogg, Faletau, Jones and Furlong. Let's see if they can back them up. We're on the second round now. And Geordie, you're up first. We're in reverse order. First of all, though, I mean, your line search, who did you room with? Who was the best? Who was the worst?
We were very lucky to have a few different roommates. I think Gareth Cooper from Wales was a good buddy of mine. Showed me the ropes down in Wales on the week previous to going on tour. So,
what kind of ropes did he show you, Geordie? What are you talking about? What kind of ropes are we talking about here?
Just basically took me under his wing, showed me the right things to do and the wrong things not to do. So
okay,
very well behaved.
We won't read into that. Here we go. You get first choice in the second draft round. So who are you going to go with?
Yeah, again, I'm going to stick with the backs. This guy, for me, was probably one of the standout players on a consistent level throughout the Six Nations. His form at club level has been amazing. I'm going into the midfield. I'm going to pick Robbie Henshaw.
Yes, good choice. Yeah, very, very good choice. And bedeviled by injuries over the years, but he really looks like the real deal at the moment. He's come back so strong, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was really impressed by his physicality throughout the Six Nations, the way he put those tackles in. Again, he's got an aerial game and a kicking game that can be used when called upon. But I just think he's grown a lot, and I thought he was the form player of the Six Nations.
Good stuff. Excellent. Interesting little team there. Scotsman and an Irishman, developing very nicely indeed. Sam, how are you down there?
Good, thank you.
How's the essay going?
A lot of writing.
Do you need
and
a
scribbling.
new pen, new paper?
I'm getting there. I'm good. I'm going to stick with. I'm going to work on the spine of my team first, and I think Lawrence made a good point picking your captain early, and I still think this guy is a captaincy candidate at second row, despite some people might think his form wasn't as good in the Six Nations. I still thought he showed a lot more than a lot of the other second rows. So I'm going to go with Maro Itoje in the second row.
Maro Itoje. He does have that kind of talismanic quality, doesn't he, that you need on a Lions tour?
Well, I remember 4 years ago, just seeing him and obviously working with him in person, I just remember thinking, wow, he's a standout to be captain in 4 years' time. I obviously haven't been anywhere near the England camp the last 4 years, but you go back to last annual year, there wasn't a single game he wasn't in the top 2 or 3 players on the pitch. He is picked as a second row, but against South Africa, it wouldn't surprise me if somewhere along the Test series you see him play 6 as well. So, but yeah, for my picking now, he's second row.
Yeah, for the purpose of this, Lawrence, of course, you've got to name your player, you've got to name their position as well. Whether they're a bit of a utility player, doesn't matter for this. We're picking our best 15. So who have you got, Law?
Well, unsurprisingly, I was going to pick Henshaw and then Itoje, but they've gone. I just feel I'm going to go with a hooker. I just think it's really important. The line out is going to be massive against South Africa. We know how good they are, how many good players they've got. Now, there's a number of hookers that you could pick, but I'm going to. And Warren Gatland has already said that there's players who are going to get left behind, but there's also a few players who've got credit in the bank, and I think this player has some credit in the bank. He wasn't a great starter in the Six Nations for England, but Jamie George, I think he's going to be really, really important, not just off the field, but on the field as well. So I'm going to pick him as my hooker.
I can see a little glint in Sam's eye going, he hasn't gone for Ken Owens. He's still there, he's still in the mix. Benny.
Well, yeah, a lot of the players were on my list as well, but actually the next player on my list, and I almost had him as first, and I think it's someone that Sam will be a bit disappointed is about to go, is Tom Curry.
Oh, you get it.
Because, look, again, someone who perhaps didn't get the plaudits during the Six Nations, but if you watched him as an individual and what he did in a team going backwards, and it's often a 7 looks better when their team's dominant, he never gets anything wrong. I've watched him a lot with Sale as well, and both sides of the ball, he's a devil over the ball, and winning ball back from South Africa will be key, but equally he's a good ball carrier himself, and I just think he is absolutely, I'm delighted to have him on my team.
I agree with that. I think if you're looking at Six Nations, I thought he was England's best player. And anyone who thinks Tom Curry shouldn't be near a Lions team hasn't got a clue. I think he's phenomenal. So yeah, good choice.
Are you playing him at 7?
Playing him at 7, yeah.
Going to say, wow.
Good stuff. Was he on your list, Law?
Yeah, he is. So he's not now, is he?
Geordie? Is that one that slipped by for you, Geordie, yeah?
Oh, I had someone ahead of him at 7, but I keep that to myself.
You're playing a sneaky game. I see the glint in you. I recognise that glint. You're up to something there. Remember, gents, this gets a bit more interesting now. Not so much jeopardy now, still some brilliant names up on that board, but this is the first 20-second round. It's a 20-second time limit on your selection here. As I said, when you get into round 10 or 11, it's going to become a bit more important to be more jeopardy, less names and more positions to fill. So it is Ben who goes first back into our order from the first round.
Hang
so
on.
Ben, 20 seconds. Who are you going with?
I wasn't expecting this to be 20. I'm going to take all 20. I am going to go...
Oh, you're having to think already.
Yeah.
Is it the position, the player? 3 seconds.
Dan Bigger.
Dan Bigger at 10. Interesting. And that's actually one of the more controversial, well, not controversial, but is the most debated shirts. I think it always is with the Lions. But Dan Bigger at 10, he's proven it, hasn't he, in the Six Nations and with Northampton Saints that he's well able for it. Lawrence?
I'm going to go with another fly half, and he's not got age on his side, but he's got everything else going for him. I'm going to go with Johnny Sexton.
Why are you going with Johnny Sexton?
Because he's outstandingly good, and I think you need someone who can control the game in that position. Great kicking game. He's world class. I think he caused New Zealand a few problems. So if he can do that to New Zealand, then he's going to cause South Africa a few problems as well.
And that lovely bit of edge, Sam, that you need on a tour down in the Lions as well, tour down in South Africa. Right, 20 seconds on the clock, Sam. Your round 3 selection, please.
I'm going to go to my backs now for the first time. I'm going to pick a centre, and this guy, given his versatility, playing centre and on the wing, his size, power, physicality, and I think when he gets the ball, he really makes a difference. I'm going to go with George North at 13.
Oh, it's gone well for him, hasn't it, moving into centre? Did you always see that quality in him?
I think it's almost been forced upon because Jonathan Davis has had a significant injury which has put him out for some time, but having seen him play 13, I think he's just grown into the role massively. And I just think when he gets the ball, he's got a one-on-one. He's just got that ability which most backs don't have, just to beat someone one-on-one, whether it's with footwork or physicality. So for me, I think he's quite an obvious choice, like I say, given his versatility as well.
And the fact when you get a little bit older and fatter, it's nice to be able to slot into the pitches, isn't it? Handy that. How are you getting on with that front, the older, fatter role there, Geordie, yourself? How are you getting on with that?
Enjoying it.
Yeah?
Enjoying the middle-age spread, yeah. They're getting quite a lot fatter, funnily enough. But it's all ahead of me.
All ahead of you. Your choice, please, Geordie.
I'm going to go for a guy who I think is pivotal to the way England play. I'm going to go into the forwards and into the back row, and I'm going to pick Sam Underhill.
Good choice. Yeah, very, very good choice, Sam Underhill. And Geordie, the good news is you've been very quick in your selection. We didn't need the 20 seconds, but you get to go again. So you get to build a little bit now as we hit round 4 of this draft. So, Geordie, we're back in our reverse order. You go first, your round 4 pick, please.
I'm going to go to hooker and choose Ken Owens.
Ken Owens.
Sorry, Warby.
Yeah, he was definitely on Warby's list, I'd say. What is it about Ken you like, Geordie?
I just think he's been around the block. He knows how to get it done. Obviously, he's used to playing with Wales and that Warren Gatland style of play. I think he's a little bit underrated. I suppose some question marks on occasion over his throwing, but I just think that experience there, and I expect Alan Wynne to be in that line out as well. So that would be a nice combination.
He's gone, Sam.
Yeah.
He's gone.
That's speeded up my process of picking a hooker, so I'm going to get a hooker in quick. I actually think the hookers are all pretty level playing field, actually. I'd be happy with any of the 3, including the one I'm going to mention. So Cowan-Dickie, Luke Cowan-Dickie, I still think I would have thought prior to those 2 selections, he's a realistic shot to start a test match as well. Whenever he's flexed, he's brilliant. Great line-up percentage, ability at turning ball over on the floor, and he's extremely physical athlete, which I know Warren Gatland will like as well, good in the loose. So I'm going to go Luke Cowan-Dickie at hooker.
Having had the pleasure of interviewing him a few times, I think he's going to be good on a night out too, Lol. Don't you think?
If he survives, yeah. It goes hard early, I'm told.
All right, hard early, bed early. Yeah, been there. Know that. Your selection, please, Lol.
I think I've got to go into the back row, really, and because I'm just conscious I haven't chosen the back row forward yet. Obviously, Curry and Faletau and Underhill have gone, and I need someone in my back row, and the choice is between Tipperick and Watson. I'm going to go Tipperick.
Oh, just about on the clock. We forgot about the time bit.
There you go.
Okay, good stuff. That was a little bit tense. Justin Tipperick. I mean, look, if it's a hard track, we know this guy's skill set. He could be quite good fun to watch over there, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's outstanding. Doesn't give many penalties away. I think his work rate is phenomenal. He's got that Lions experience, and that's the squad needs to be that blend between those who have worn that shirt before, who understand it, and those who can maybe pass it on as well. So the mixture of experience, particularly against a quality opponent, he is world class still, Tipperick, and he's in my team.
Benny.
I have to really rearrange everything, but no hookers, so I can park that for a bit now. So I'm going to make sure that other plans aren't scuppered, because there aren't that many bolters, and I'm going to play my bolter wild card.
It's exciting, isn't it, when all that happens?
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it's TV, innit?
So, look, I think, as we said, there aren't that many that we could come up with bolters-wise, but what more of a bolter could you have than last year's European Player of the Year? So at number 8, I'm going to have Exeter Chiefs' Sam Simmonds.
Sam Simmonds, interesting. And look, people are absolutely baffled that he should be even considered a bolter, Benny, aren't they?
Yeah, look, I can understand why, coaches pick different people and don't fit into their game plan, but we know that the physical battle is going to be all important when you get down to South Africa, and someone that can get you over the gain line, dent the gain line, but also has the pace to make those breaks down the middle, good in support for any breaks from the quality of backs we're going to have. So I just think he's absolutely ideal, and I think Warren Gatland might just have a little smirk on his face and drop him in the squad.
OK, Benny, you've bolted. OK, you've bolted, but you're up again because we're back into a normal order of things. So who are you going to go in our round 5 pick of this draft?
No, I've totally forgotten. I said I had to reschedule everything off the back of that, so I'm now saving that Legends wild card. But someone who's been a bit of a legend on tours before, but potentially on this one, and I think a quality player, never does anything wrong, John Fox-Davis.
Ah, yes, Foxy Davis.
At 13.
Good. At 13.
Yeah.
Very, very good choice indeed. Good stuff. Lawrence. Names are disappearing, Lawrence.
Oh, they are disappearing, indeed. I'm just conscious of the average age of my 4 picks so far is definitely mid-30s, so I've got to get some youth into that team.
And you have 6 seconds to
I'm
do
going to go
so.
with a tight head. Obviously, Furlong's gone, but I'm going to go with Carl Sinclair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'd be good on tour.
Yeah, I mean, he came, obviously came off the pitch early in the World Cup against South Africa in the final. We never really saw what that contest might look like. He's been outstanding since he's come back for both Bristol and for England. He was one of the top performers in the Six Nations in a poor side. I think it's just such a key position against the box. And number 1 would have been Furlong, but number 2 is definitely Carl Sinclair.
And he's matured a bit and he's learned how to control himself a little bit and deal with the referee a little bit better, hasn't he? So, but still a bit of edge, which can lead against the Springboks. Good stuff. Sam, you're up.
I'm going to go... I haven't picked a flanker yet, ironically, so I'm going to go at flanker. I said going into this tour, I think he's probably the best player who hasn't played for the Lions. Number 7, Hamish Watson.
Hamish Watson, yeah. I mean, he had a brilliant Six Nations, didn't he, though? He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Oh, he's stunning. I think he is a definite realistic test starter. I think it's going to look like playing 2 runaways, this campaign, whether it's him and Curry, himself, Tippett, Navidi, but they're all going to be involved. But I think, Watson is his plays for Scotland were really impressive, so I'm glad to have him in my team.
And this leads really nicely on to Geordie, because there was a time in your playing career where you had hair much like his. Do you remember your mullet days?
I don't really remember it, to be quite honest. I think it was just a perm. That was big back in the day. It was a perm, yeah.
Was it a natural perm or did you?
Just full natural perm. Yeah, okay. It wasn't actually treated in any way.
And how lucky were you? Dricko's hair was so bad. Brian O'Driscoll's hair was so bad. It took attention away from it, didn't it?
I feel that's why he's a great captain. He did things just to take the heat off the team, and although he had a terrible perm, his blonde ponytail with a white goatee was particularly awful. So he took the heat off a lot of us.
Yeah, we need to get him growing that again. Right, your pick. For round 5, Geordie, who are you going for?
I am going to go. Watson was on my list to choose, but Sam's done me in the eye there. I'm going to go to 10. I'm going to choose Finn Russell.
You going for?
Finn Russell.
Finn Russell at 10, yeah. I mean, look, we love his good stuff. Sometimes we go, oh, is it a bit risky? How about playing a guy like that in a test game in South Africa?
Yeah, look, he has critics, but I just think his form has been very good. I think when he's on form, the teams he's controlling and running around the field, they play some great rugby, and it's certainly exciting. And I think that's what the Lions is all about. I know it's going to be a physical battle, but on occasions people want to see those tries and want to see what he's got up his sleeve. So I'm excited to see him play.
And definitely good fun on a night out.
And definitely good fun. There's a huge element of that in every selection.
You bet there is. Right there, we are 1/3 of the way through the draft. Selection appears to be all cool and calm at this stage. It could all change with the opinion of one man. Ali Eakin's been casting his learned eye across all things. Big names gone off the board. Nice teams building and developing. What do you take of it all so far?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we have to look at it objectively and recognise that probably the best players have gone off the table at this point. Early picks mean the top picks. These are the top 20. So, Lol's team, yeah, I like the look of this. I guess the one question I'd have for you, Lol, a lot of talk about Johnny Sexton's age and potentially a degree of fragility. Is that bothering you with such a physical tour ahead?
Well, I think that the number 10 is targeted in any team on any tour. I think if you pick any of those 10s and they're all world class, they're all going to come under a lot of pressure. He's actually proven a lot of people wrong this season. He's driving his provincial side. He's driven his international side yet again. Just when we all thought that he didn't have those performances left in him, he just keeps coming up with the big ones in the big games. So got no problem picking Johnny Sexton on tour in South Africa.
Yep, good rationale. Can't argue with that. Geordie, liking the look of your selections so far, particularly Henshaw, who's in such brilliant form at the moment. Interesting to see Russell picked at 10. It's kind of got echoes of Gregor Townsend 97, similar kind of style of player to some degree. I like the excitement that brings. Ben, the only man to play the wild card bolter to this point with Sam Simmonds, gone early with that. Interesting policy, but Lions selection always about these kind of exciting picks, the ones who are slightly left field, if you can even put him in that category. I mean, do you think that one of his best attributes being his speed and his dynamism is a factor that could really shine on those fast tracks?
Yeah, I do, and I think you've got to have something that the South Africans are going to be genuinely fearful of, which means they might overmark him and leave space somewhere else on the field. So, the back row, the battle was going to be whether you have a load of dogs that can go toe-to-toe with South Africa and the size of their back row, or you have power, and I've gone for the power option. Obviously, Curry, I feel, is very powerful, and you combine him with Sam Simmons, and it's a pretty potent combination, I think.
Okay, and then Sam's picks, obviously Cowan-Dickie at hooker, Itoje, not going to be too many arguments over Maro Itoje's inclusion. The big selection at this point from Sam so far is Hamish Watson at 7. There's been so much talk about the way that he plays his game, just so much energy, such an incredible engine. But Sam said something to me, Craig, just before we came on air about power trumping size. There's a lot of talk about Hamish Watson's size. Will he be able to go toe-to-toe with those monsters in the box pack? But the power is all important, and if Sam reckons he's got enough power, that's probably good enough for most of us.
Yeah, it is. But Sam did speak about putting a spine of a team together. And Sam, I can't help but notice after 5 rounds, you haven't gone for any half-backs yet. So I'm just wondering what your strategy might be over the next few rounds. Not a pick just yet, just your general thoughts on what's left out there.
No, my half-backs, I'm hoping, are going to be my wild cards. So I'm tactically choosing when I'm going to pick them. But I'll have to leave that till later on.
Geordie, big stock of Irish players up there still to be picked from. You know them well?
Yeah, some fantastic players. It's a really challenging one to do, isn't it? Because you're trying to have a look at what everyone else is going to pick as well. But yeah, some quality players still in the mix.
Geordie, it's a quick fire round again. 20 seconds on the clock. The names are disappearing. You're up next.
On that, I'm going to choose in the back row. And again, from Ireland, who again I thought had a great tournament and who is going to be finishing up in South Africa, CJ Stander.
CJ, yeah. I mean, he's going to know the territory well, isn't he? You know, he's going to be quite comfortable over there, isn't he? I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I think emotionally for him to be finishing up and to play on his home soil as such. I know he's an adopted Irishman, but to be going back into South Africa to play there, I'm sure it'll be an emotional one for him, and I think that he will play brilliantly against South Africa.
Okay, you got CJ. Sam.
I've gone with a theme of power. I think I've got 5 really good power athletes, obviously all extremely talented, and I'm going to stick with the theme of power. And another player on the wing who I think is a definite starter, and that's going to be Anthony Watson.
Anthony Watson, yeah, and it's interesting, his form from Bath has been really good over the past few weeks, hasn't it? He's looking really exciting again.
I think he's been one of England's best players for a long time now, and his footwork before contact's amazing. He just has this unbelievable knack to always beat the first defender, and given that he's got genuine pace, good under the high ball, big guy. He's great. I'm going to play him at wing, that is, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to play him at wing?
A wing, yeah, on the wing.
Okay, interesting. All right, okay. Don't forget, you choose your player, you also got to choose their position, and then they are gone. Can't get them again. So, Lawrence, up you go. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm moving into the back line, and Sam talks about genuine pace. And the next choice for me is also on the wing. This kid's he already is a star, but he could be a superstar after this Lions tour. He scored some amazing tries already.
4
Can't wait.
seconds.
Louis Rees-Zammit.
Oh, yes, Rees-Zammit, yes. He looked so confident as well, Lawrence, didn't he? He was taking on little chips and chases that you wouldn't expect a kid of his age to take on during the Six Nations.
No, he seems very comfortable at international level already. He scored some absolute sizzling tries. They've got X Factor in that position, and I think we have to match it with X Factor with the Lions. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy, particularly on those hard grounds in South Africa, because I think anything is possible with him.
Benny, could he be the first ever player to make a Lions tour before he starts shaving?
You know what I was about to come back to.
I know, yeah. I know exactly. Let's move on, shall
Yes,
we?
Craig, yes.
Who are you going for, Benny?
Anthony Watson was probably going to be next on my list, but I am going to stay in a position that he plays, and someone that did very well on the last Lions tour. I'm going to have at fullback Liam Williams.
Liam Williams, yeah.
Fullback,
Law, was he on your list there, Law? A bit side from you?
I think he's on everyone's list, really. I mean, one, because he can play across the back three. You've only got to remember, the vivid images of that wonderful Sean O'Brien try. I mean, who started it was Liam Williams, and he's in great form as well. So, yeah, he'd be on the list.
OK, Sam, a lot of your Welsh friends disappearing. Look at that. I mean, they've been the most heavily plundered team, Wales, at the moment on the board, haven't they?
Well, I guess it's a compliment from a Welsh perspective that, you know, I've got 2 Englishmen and an Irishman who've gone to the Welsh squad. And I think the players they've picked, they have all got serious Lions test credentials. So I think they're all good choices.
OK, we're on round 7. Ben, you get to pick here. And, it's getting a little bit tougher, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You've got 18 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to go somewhere else, but I think just with something that Sam said about keeping the bankers, we know that the halfbacks is a difficult area. So I'm going to pair Dan Biggar at fly half with my scrum half of Conor Murray.
Oh, that's a nice combo. Yeah, very nice indeed, yeah. And Conor Murray just kind of getting himself back into form again. He's going to be Dan Biggar's partner, of course, in Ben's half-back partnership. So Biggar and Murray looks pretty good. He has improved recently, hasn't he, Benny? He seems to have found his form again.
Yeah, absolutely. You asked me 6 months ago, I probably wouldn't have had him in there. But I think, particularly for South Africa as well, the way you want to play against South Africa, I think the way Lions played, box kicking is going to be really important in terms of breaking the pitch up and changing the structure of the defence so that some of the sparkling backs we've got can go at them.
Lawrence, the last time I've seen you pour over a sheet this much was in a wine bar pre-COVID. Go for the Montrachet, always the Montrachet.
Yeah, no, I don't have to. I don't have to worry that much. I don't even have to look at that one. But I'm under pressure really, and I know I'm picking an Englishman, and it might be a slightly unpopular pick based on form, but Owen Farrell is going to go on this Lions tour. It's just a question of where he plays, and I don't think he should be playing at fly half. I don't think we're blessed, other than Henshaw, who's in outstanding form, with a lot of options, and I'm going to pick Owen Farrell at 12.
Owen Farrell at 12. So he travels for you over as a centre. Yeah, interesting. Sam, Owen Farrell's gone.
Yeah, no, more scribbles from me.
More scribbles.
I had him in my long-term strategy to go at 12 as well, but never mind.
How many times have you ripped up your strategy at this stage?
16.
16. OK, you have 10 seconds.
Oh, crikey, I'm going.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna complete my boiler house, and I'm going to go with James Ryan.
James Ryan, interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's always been the dream combo. I think for a long time back, people always felt that Itoje and Ryan were the dream second row combo for a Lions tour.
Yeah, I think going back 12 months ago, that was probably the obvious choice. 2 young guys. Adam Wynne-Jones obviously played himself into the frame, but you've got 2 young, athletic, hungry, competitive guys there. So they're going to be right up there come test time.
Geordie, I'm looking at some of the Irish players up there, the likes of an Andrew Porter who can play both sides of the scrum. Gary Ringrose, absolutely brilliant. You know, Tyke Byrne, who's just kind of shaken up the rugby world this season. Jordan Larmour, so exciting. There's so many brilliant players on that list, but still all available to you. I'm not suggesting you should go for another Ireland player. I'm just looking at the list saying, wow.
You've actually been reading my notes because you've gone for my first 2 on the double pick, to be quite honest with you. I figured I need to get into the forwards, and that tight end position is obviously pivotal against South Africa. And Andrew Porter was someone who came off the bench a lot. I think he's an unbelievable player to have on tour with his strength and scrummaging ability. So he's my tight head.
He's your tight head, Andrew Porter. Brilliant. OK, let's have a look who's left. Look, still some brilliant players up on that board. Quite a lot of England players. I guess maybe that reflects how the Six Nations went for them. They haven't been talked about as much as some of the Welsh players have, and a lot of the Scottish players as well. They're going to be well represented on this tour. So it's very interesting, and still a lot of picking to go. We're almost halfway through, but now it's crunch time. The bulk of the decisions will be made right now. So here's a little reminder of who has been drafted, and more importantly, who is left. So there you go, getting tense. Yeah, the clock is running on some of these selections too, so it's going to be tough over these next few rounds. Tougher though for Ali Eakin. Let's not forget the job you have, Al, because when all the teams are selected, you've got to choose a winner and you've got to present that amazing trophy that you won in one of those machines in a fairground. So that's it's a huge moment for whoever wins. But
it's a big one. It's a big one, and it's getting more difficult, obviously, by the minute. Everybody's having to reshape their squads, their sides. A lot of big names are beginning to be lost now, and I think it's probably the moment, isn't it, that we remind everybody they've got that Legends wildcard they can play at any point. It can be a Lions legend from whichever era, whichever decade they please, and That's a powerful thing, particularly for my money in a couple of crucial positions. And there'll be positions that those guys figured they had down, and now suddenly they're not, that they might be considering some big names from yesteryear.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget they also have their Bolter wild card as well. So there are players who didn't play in the Six Nations. That's why most of them are up on that board. They can still pick one of those each. Right, OK, we're into round 8. Geordie, you've had a little time to contemplate. I think you've got a plan. I'm seeing a sneakiness about you.
I had a plan, but like anything, it went out the window as soon as everyone started stealing all the players. It's a difficult one, and I think what Ali was talking about there was I had my legend wild card was planning to be in the outside backs, but unfortunately I've had to change that now because I've missed out on some big forwards, so I'm going to have to add some steel up there. But before I go there, as I know I have that to come, I'm going to choose at 13 Gary Ringrose.
Gary Ringrose, good choice. You didn't even need your 20 seconds. So did you walk into the room today with him on your list? Was that quite a win for you just there?
I actually had a legend on my list at the outside centre spot.
Okay. Who would Who was that?
You can choose who that would be yourself, but I had my own Brian O'Driscoll as a 13 potential captain material there. But just in relation to the way things have gone so far, I'm going to choose the next best thing to Brian O'Driscoll as Gary Ringrose.
No, a lot of people have said, can I have a close up on Geordie, please, that you think that Gary Ringrose could be better than Brian O'Driscoll, like ever and stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Well, when he was coming through school,
Brian's your friend.
He was tagged as the next Brian O'Driscoll from a very, very young age, and certainly when I see him play, the way he moves, very, very similar to Brian. Obviously, they're very, very big boots to fill in that Brian had done it all for a very long period, but I do think that Gary Ringrose is a fantastic player.
So are you saying you think Gary's better than your friend and former teammate Brian O'Driscoll?
Without a shadow of a doubt. And when you put it like that, yes, he is much better than Brian O'Driscoll.
Good stuff. You said it. Thanks for that, Geordie. Sam, you're up next.
Yeah, I've got a big gap at 9, 10 and then 12, so I need to fill that in. I'm going to put a bit of faith in this guy at centre. I think he's going to have probably 4 or 5 games to play himself into some form. Sorry, Ben. But who would want to play the centre against George North and Manu Tuilagi?
Oh, OK. So you're staying with the power theme here, aren't you?
I'm all about the power, Craig, yeah. So I think Manu Tuilagi, George North, Watson, 12, 13, 14. I think that's quite tasty.
Yeah, it could be quite a boring game, couldn't it? Just a lot of big carries up the middle. Stuff. No, good. That's what you might need down there. Lawrence, you're up.
Well, it's really hard, isn't it? It's becoming even harder. And I think I've got to go outside of my squad now and go with a legend wild card.
Oh, Lal, this is exciting, isn't it? Yeah.
It is exciting. It's a bit fanboy, but it's a fact. This guy is one of the greatest ever rugby players to ever play the game. He happens to sit between you and I in the studio on a regular basis. I need a bit of world-class X-factor in my back line, and it's not Austin Healey, no. It's, of course, the great British and Irish Lion, in fact, Brian O'Driscoll.
Oh, you've gone for, in Geordie's view, the second best 13 to ever have played for Ireland.
Well, he's definitely right.
He's up there.
I've gone for, God, whatever you guys call him. God.
Do you know there's a pub in New York, pub in New York, and when you go there, on the receipt it says, "In Bod we trust." Honest fact, yeah. Good stuff. Not that I pay my bills or anything.
Well, if you just think about his, him in his pomp, his ability in terms of his try scoring and just his game, everything about it, and obviously another jackler over the ball, perfect.
Yeah. And huge moments in important parts of games where he just took on responsibility to finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in Australia, that wonderful try scored from the halfway line, just his ability to produce match-winning moments, which I think this team is absolutely going to need. We all have to pick one legend, and we all have to pick one bolter, and he is my legend.
Of course, we're talking him up because of what Geordie said about him earlier. We're just trying to repair things a little bit, Geordie. You understand what we're doing here?
Cheers for that, Lol.
Yeah, just patching things up.
Patch the relationship up for me. Thanks, Lol.
All good. He's in.
Yeah.
Benny, who have you got? Your round 8 pick.
Sam's killed me with that. I thought that was the banker for me in the midfield. So, but everyone else's midfield's filled now, so I'm going to go somewhere I haven't got anyone at the moment. That is, I'll go 6 actually, and I'll go for Tadhg Beirne.
Tyburn, excellent. Okay, and you're choosing him at 6.
I'm choosing him at 6 because I thought other people might have him at second row or 6. So, but look, also you need a good line out against South Africa. You can't just have Sam Simmonds and Tom Curry in there. I think you need a bit of line out prowess, and he obviously offers that as well. But he's been great for the last 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, great to watch as well in the big occasion. Good stuff. Okay, we're in round 9. This is a quick fire round. It's getting tougher now. You really only have 20 seconds for your choice. Benny, you're up again. Double bubble for you.
See, this is, I think for some people this might be a bit controversial, but I'm lacking a bit of the power that I wanted, so I'm going to go loose head prop and go Ellis Genge.
Ellis Genge.
Yeah.
Why do you say controversial?
Well, I just think that people think that he's loose and ill-disciplined, but I think they need, again, to win some of those collisions. He's going to add a bit of spice and G up that forward pack. So and he can scrummage really well also. So look, him and Furlong, I think, is a good partnership.
Also, his Instagram on a Lions tour will be something to behold, won't it?
Just a bit.
Just a bit. Lawrence, you're up. Round 9. 20 seconds. Off we go.
Yeah, I'm going to go with... I went with Lewis Rees-Zammit on one wing, and again, this might be slightly controversial. I'm going to go with Josh Adams on the other wing as well. I think those guys have just got that ability to score tries, and that's what we're going to need out in South Africa. So Josh Adams is my other winger.
Josh Adams, yeah. He's fairly prolific, isn't he? Fair play. Good stuff. Sam?
I'm going to finish the back 5 of my pack, and I'll be really happy now after this selection. Back row, I'm going to go with Courtney Laws to play 6.
Courtney Laws to play 6. His game has changed a bit over the years, hasn't he? He's not just out there cutting guys in half. He's developed it, matured a bit on the field, isn't he?
Yeah, I think England have really missed him and Underhill in the Six Nations in the last 6 to 12 months. Like their defence was almost built off the impact those two would have. So I'm looking at like that back 5 now: Mauro, James Ryan, Courtney Laws, Watson and Faletau, and I think that's a pretty explosive and big back 5 with good line-out ability in there as well. So I think that's I'm happy with that. So yeah, Courtney Laws at 6, I think would be a good shout.
Okay, Geordie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I've kind of neglected my second row a little bit, and some of the more obvious names have slipped down the pecking order. However, very pleased with Johnny Gray still being there. I think he's a guy who's very much under the radar, doesn't miss tackles, serious line-out operator, and he's going to be in my team in the second row.
Johnny Gray, yeah, good choice. He's really benefited from the move to Exeter Chiefs as well, hasn't he? He's so hugely physical, but he can play a bit as well if he wants, can't he?
Yeah, he's almost added another dimension to his game. I think the way the Chiefs play that really hard, abrasive style, certainly his ability to complete tackles is a very impressive, and I think he can compete with the obviously the big front 5 that South Africans will have.
Didn't he go months and months without missing a tackle last season?
He's been on an unbelievable streak of completing, yeah.
How did you feel about tackling, Geordie, in your day?
It was never really my forte, to be quite honest with you, Craig. I wasn't known as being a ferocious tackler. I wasn't known as being a tackler, really.
Good stuff. Geordie, you get to go again to start off round 10. 20 seconds are going to be strict on this because the names are disappearing fast.
Yeah, again, in the second row, I'm going to use my legend wild card.
Okay.
Yeah, second row was obviously a pivotal position. We've talked about the physicality that's needed in South Africa. There's some really great candidates there in the second row. Martin Johnson, Paddy Mayne, who was one of the founders of the SAS, who I thought was particularly a strong candidate. But the most experienced lion of all time, Willie John McBride. I think a character like that in the row against South Africa will be something that would be very beneficial. So I will go for Willie John McBride in the second row. Brilliant
choice. 17 test caps for that. I mean, how do you get 17 test caps to the line? It's an incredible number, isn't it?
Well, you just have to be tough as old boots, don't you? And certainly he is renowned as being one of the toughest lions of all time. So that's why I've chosen him.
Have you got your other second row yet? No. Who's have you got?
Just got Johnny Gray.
Johnny Gray. All right, that's quite a combo, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's a nice combination in that Johnny probably gives you a little bit more aerially. People would say that Willie John at 6'4" may not be tall enough to play in the second row in the current game, but yeah, look, that's probably the balance of it. I think it's a debatable one, but look, experience. You want someone who's tough. You want a leader. They're all the things that Willie John McBride was.
Lawrence has just punched his sheet there. What happened there, Lol?
No. Nothing too bad. I was just, Just thinking about a player I should have picked, really. But
It's getting tense.
it's all gone.
It's all gone. Sam, how's the strategy down there?
All gone to pot. I've neglected my prop, so I better get a prop in quick. It's a close toss-up between Loosehead now, Cian Healy and Mako Vunipola, but I think Warren Gatland is going to give Mako Vunipola time, and he's probably got the highest ceiling of all the looseheads from a potential point of view. So Loosehead, Mako Vunipola.
Mako Vunipola. Of course, we're not choosing a bench here today. It's just your starting 15. And Mako, we get 80 minutes out of him. You wouldn't get 80 minutes out of Cian either, would you? I guess so.
Yeah, I think against South Africa, they're going to bring on the cavalry at 50-60. And I think, it's going to be, you're not going to leave any of your front fives on for 70, 80 minutes against South Africa. You're going to need that impact off the bench. The Lions did that in 17, and that's the thing they've got. You've got 23 world-class players you can pick from. So as long as they're good for 50-60, they'll be good for Gats.
Lawrence, just a quick word on the Saracens players making your drafts, because I do feel for them a bit, because they haven't been able to play rugby at the top level in the Gallagher Premiership, and I guess the selectors are going to give it a little bit of leeway there, you think?
I wouldn't say too much. I mean, you've got to play well in the Six Nations, and none of them have. So there's a few that will go because there's credit, and I think Jamie George and Owen Farrell are definitely those two. But Itoje obviously picks himself, but I think there's one or two that are going to miss out. Elliot Daly, has he been good enough? Billy Vunipola, has he been good enough? When you compare him to everything else that's out there, then I think Warren Gatland is going to struggle to pick those players, definitely. But, that's the whole beauty of it. It's all down to not just how they play on the field, but also what makes a good tourist off the field as well. And we mustn't forget that.
Lol, you're going to wrap up round 10. Who are you going for?
Yeah, the guys have talked about the second row. There's obviously a lot of players already gone out of there. I've picked my legend, so I'm going to go with Ian Henderson in the second row. Because, as I said, you need quality. We need a good line out forward, and just if I could do something that would really upset Benny, then that's just perfect. So I'm going to go with Henderson. I think he's been outstanding. He probably could have had more Irish caps, but for the odd injury and non-selection there. But I think now he's really coming through to be the quality player that he is.
Let's just keep saying the name Ian Henderson, because Ian Henderson. He wasn't on your list, though. No.
No, he wasn't next either. He wasn't next. Obviously the second row is quite important. Just going to make a note of Lawrence in there. Well, actually, everyone else has got their second row now. So I am going to go
6 seconds
for Johnny May at wing.
I think you could say Johnny May at second row. He's gone mad.
Well, everyone else has filled their second row slots, have they? Oh no, Lawrence has still got one. No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. Yeah. No.
Okay, Johnny May. Johnny May, fun out in a Lions tour, no doubt about that. We know how electric he can be and how entertaining he can be. Ali, how are you getting on there? I mean, the guys are struggling now. You can see it, because not only are they kind of missing out on players, but they're seeing other selections getting better, and they're looking at their own and reflecting. And there's a bit of self-doubt creeping in. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of self-doubt creeping in over here, if I'm brutally honest with you. There's so many good names, and I'm just beginning to start to look at combinations now, which I know is going to be key to selection for Warren Gatland and the rest of his coaching staff. He's always looking at little units that have worked together before really nicely. So, for instance, Lawrence has got his 10-12 situation there with Sexton and Farrell. That was used before in 2017. And I just wonder if you can recreate the magic on two separate Lions tours. Lol, you're obviously confident they can.
Yeah, I believe so, especially with O'Driscoll outside them. I genuinely believe that they can play probably even better than they did actually in New Zealand. They came together particularly in that third test, the second and third test. But I do believe that, on those hard grounds. And I think at altitude, a couple of games in Joburg, let's not forget, where kicking game, having left foot, right foot, strong kickers right across your back line is going to be really, really important. You turn the ball over, you're 60 metres down the field.
Yep, good point, well made. Geordan obviously has, one or two names there who perhaps weren't necessarily first names on the team sheet for a lot of people, the likes of Porter, Johnny Gray, maybe CJ Stander falls into that bracket as well. But he's played the big dog in the second row with Willie John McBride. I mean, it's a big call, Jordan, but I personally feel like maybe you needed that, given the rest of your picks and your pack particularly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the danger of starting with the back line. I think all the boys chose forwards first, and choosing last was one of those ones I had to go for Stuart Hogg first, but I kind of chasing a little bit, so I've kind of gone about it from back to front as the boys who are all forwards would do, but I think I've balanced it up by getting Willie John back in there. So I'm pretty confident that once this forward pack I've got can get parity, this back line will rip it up.
Okay, good stuff. And legends to come, of course, for two of the guys as well, still yet. Ben, interesting picks, and interesting to see that as a former World Cup winning second row, you've yet to pick a second row, which is something that we will.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I would have done had someone else not done that. But they filled their second rows now, so I can sort of leave that alone. No one else, I don't think, is going to take anyone that I want. And it becomes, and the same with hooker. All the hookers have gone, so that was a safe one to leave out. So now I've got a battle to go for someone that can play in the centre that can also play fullback, because these guys have got slots there, or whether I take the wings out of the equations next time.
Conundrums to wrestle with. And Sam, I mean, I think that one of the big takeaways from Sam's selection so far in the back division, it's big, really big. Tuolangi and North in the midfield. I don't think we're going to be left guessing as to how that team's going to play, Craig.
Yeah, well, he did say he was going to play the power game, didn't he, from the start. Good stuff. I like the way it's landed at your feet a little bit for the second rows, though, Benny. You can relax on that. You can park that.
Yeah, all the ones I want are there. It's worked perfectly. Just how I had it sorted in my head. Yeah.
What a clever guy. Okay. Well, Ben, you get to fix some of that now, because it is round 11. These are quick fire rounds. You really do have 20 seconds on the clock. We're going to ramp through this one. Benny, round 11, up you go.
So I am going to go for my wing, and I am going to... No, I'm not. I'm going to change that. I'm going to go for my centre, and I'm going to go for Henry Slade.
Henry Slade, yeah, classy centre. Nice choice. OK, Lawrence, round 11 choice, 20 seconds, go.
Yeah, I'm going to go into the back row, a player who I think has played really, really well since he's come back from injury. He's Welsh, and his name is Josh Navidi.
The minute you said he's Welsh, Sam just marked a name off. It's just gone. Sam, you have got 20 seconds on the clock for your round 11 pick. Who are you going for?
Can I play my wild card bolter, please?
I think you can, because all that happened.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I don't think there's many bolters who are realistic. I think this guy is a genuine, realistic tourist. Given his age, experience, 80-odd caps, and playing really well, at number 9, I'm going to go with Danny Care.
Danny Care, interesting. A lot of people talking about Danny Care at the moment. I mean, Harlequins have been sensational, Sam. He's been sensational. A change in management there. They seem to have freed up a lot. What do you think the secret to his... I guess like he's a rebirth in the rugby game, really.
Whenever I played against England, when we were doing a defensive review, one of the top 3 priorities every game was always Danny Care. I just think the speed he brings to the game now, the kicking side and the tactical side, and the experience he can bring. And I also think he's desperate to go on the line still. I think he'd be a great tourist as well. So Danny Care.
Good stuff. Geordie, you get double bubble here. You get to finish round 11 and start round 12. So 20 seconds in round 11.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to finish my pack off at 7, and there's a lot of great 7s been selected, but I think this guy, I'm surprised he hasn't come up in anyone's mentioning so far. He can play 6, 7, 8. Peter O'Mahony, he's my 7.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we kind of forgot he was up on the board, actually. Very, very good choice. You get to go round 12 as well now, Geordie. You get a lot of good work done here over these few seconds.
I'm a bit concerned with my bolter, so I'd like to play my bolter wildcard now, please. My bolter will be in the loose head position. A guy who's an unbelievable tourist, real character, certainly bonds teams, brings them together. Great scrummager. I think he's been missed since his international sabbatical retirement. Joe Marler.
Lawrence just grunted he either had the salmon for lunch or he was going to select Joe Marler.
No, I thought that Joe might get overlooked by everyone, but clearly not. I think he's a very live candidate, particularly having missed the Six Nations already. I think he has got that, he for personal reasons, obviously, doing the 2 may have been a bit too much for him, but I think he's one of the best players in that position. They're going really, really well at the moment with him leading the charge. So I can't have him because it's gone. Geordie's got him.
It's not your choice, though.
Geordie's not Irish, you know that. You do know that.
I know.
You sure
I just have to even it up. It's
sure
all
you
right.
don't want to change?
Exactly.
Lol, don't make me card you. It's not your choice.
Is it not?
No, it's Sam up. Sam up next.
Okay.
Well,
Hi, Sam. How are you, Sam? Down there, you well?
Deep thought again.
Yes, you are, yeah.
I'm going to play...
Did Craig say salmon? Maybe I'll go for the salmon.
Salmon bat. Can I play my wildcard legend, please? So I'm going to go at number 10. I think this guy from kicking percentages, defensive ability, attacking ability, leadership, organisation, one of the all-time greats at fly half. I'm going to go with Johnny Wilkinson.
Johnny Wilkinson. Yeah, I'm surprised no one else had him in there.
Well, I think all the 10s got taken up. I thought that I had an idea that everybody was going to try and fill up Sexton, Russell, Bigger and Farrell pretty quick, so I had him in the back of my mind. But yeah, Wilkinson, a player who I just think would have steered the ship brilliantly. So yeah, he's. I'm glad I got him in as a pick. I was hoping to pick him as my legend from the start, to be honest.
Lol, who have you got?
I'm going to go a bit left field. He's a player that hasn't played much international rugby, but I think from the minute he's played, I think he's looked very, very comfortable playing in the back three. He's also very versatile. He's English and his name is Max Malins, and he's going to be my fullback.
Max Malins, good choice. Really exciting player as well, Good stuff. Benny, you're finishing up round 12 for us here.
Okay, I'm going to go into the wing, and I'm going to have a guy that's had a few problems with injuries, but I think he's the perfect player for a Lions trip. Very versatile, works hard, gets off his wing, and that is Jack Noel.
Round 13, Benny. You get to lead the charge here.
Yeah, I'm going to go to second row, and I'm going to take Joe Launchbury. Fantastic player that always consistent in his performance, gives so much around the field, not only sort of line out and he's one of the most destructive maulers, but also his ability to steal ball from the South Africans on the floor as well. And
he may well have been on Lawrence's list at some stage, I reckon. I know, Lawrence, you're a big fan. You're up again here.
Yeah, but I started my picks with a Wyn Jones, and I'm going to go with another Wyn Jones, really, or another Jones, that's for sure, in the front row. I think he's had an outstanding tournament for Wales, and he's going to complete my front row selection.
Okay, front row done. Bit of relief when you get the old front row done. Yeah, happy with that, Lal?
Yeah, very.
Yeah, good man. Sam,
I'm certainly wondering whether along the continuum of power I'm going too much power, particularly with my next selection as well. I got to go on the wing. I watch a lot of Pro 14, and he's been superb in the Pro 14. Great for Scotland. So going on the theme of power, wing, Duan van der Merwe.
Oh, yes. Everywhere. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Geordie.
I can't believe this guy's still there. We've kind of all talked around it, but England's most capped number 9, Ben Youngs.
Yeah, good choice.
Ben Youngs, yeah, interesting.
Partnering with Finn Russell,
Danny
I think it's a nice little partnership that. Get him some front football, get him on the move, and if he wants to let the 10 create, he can let the 10 create.
And a guy you've coached, of course, Geordie, at Leicester. What kind of players do you like to have around the place?
Oh, look, I think for multiple reasons he's a great choice. For the emotional vote, obviously he chose not to travel on the last tour because of his brother's wife's illness. So I feel like the gods of rugby owe him one. But couple that with when he's on form, he is clearly a standout performer. We're talking about all the great 9s that are out there. He's kept them all out of the shirts for England for how many years now? Over 100 caps. He's got experience. He's got a great kicking game. I think he would be my shoe-in for 9.
Okay, thanks, Geordie. Right, only 2 rounds to go. Now, our selectors have been hard at work and have 13 picks from 15 done and dusted. It's all getting a little bit tense, so here's a quick reminder of who is left to select from. And some big, big names, the likes of Vinny Vunipola still up on the board there, George Ford, Elliot Daly, of course, for Ireland, just a whole host of heavily capped players, the likes of Cian Healy up there and Keith Earls, of course, for Scotland. Well, who knows, they might be tapping into some of the hookers available there. And the likes of Callum Sheedy, a lot of people saying maybe he might be a bit of a bolter. He's been so good for the Bristol Bears and Wales over the Six Nations campaign. The likes of Francis still up there as well. So still real quality up on the board to choose from. But it is getting tense. And don't forget, as we hit round 14, the guys only have certain slots to fill on their team sheets. You've got to make 15 selections. There is 20 seconds on the clock, 2 rounds left to fill your team, Geordie, and you are up first in this penultimate round. Who are you going for?
Well, I've left the wings to my last two selections, and there's some fantastic wingers that have been selected, but then there's a couple of great ones left up there. And again, without seeming hugely biased, I think Keith Earls is a player who's experienced and who is able to do it at the top level, and exactly what you need on the wing, on the right wing.
Yeah, good choice. Keith Earls. Up next, Sam.
I'm going to complete my pack with my tight head. Close call between Ferguson and Tom Francis. Because I got loads of carriers already, I think I might be likely to go Ferguson because he carries a lot, but I'm actually going to go with a solid scrum and go with Tom Francis.
Tom Francis. Lawrence, your penultimate choice.
Well, I've got to look outside the squad because I've still got to pick a Bolter wild card. And it's going to be in the scrum half position. Obviously, there's a lot of great scrum halves already been picked, but I do like formations. I've picked Johnny Sexton at 10. So who better to accompany him than the guy he plays with it week in, week out, Luke McGrath from Leinster. I think he's been going really, really well. They look pretty strong combinations. So he's my Lions Bolter wild card number 9.
Interesting you say that, Lawrence. In the intense scrutiny and the atmosphere down in South Africa on a Lions tour, how important is it, the relationship in those crucial positions like halfback, that understanding?
Well, I think there's sort of mini combinations, isn't there, across the whole team, and I think that kind of that ability to know the player that you're playing outside or inside of, without necessarily having to think too much under pressure is absolutely key. So, look, he's very underrated. He's a bit of a pivot and maybe not makes the glowing breaks of some of the other players in that position, but I think it's solid, and I'm really looking forward to picking him.
And on the subject of thinking under pressure, Benny, how's it going down there?
Yeah, we're all right now. We haven't got much choice left, so I'm going to go into my second row, and it's all about balance of partnership for me. Mentioned I've already got Launchbury, so I'm going to partner him with someone who's a little bit looser in his play, Johnny Hill from Exeter Chiefs, and scores a lot of tries, does a lot of good running off the ball, and in combination with Launchbury and the grunt that he brings to the second row, I think it's a pretty good partnership.
Would you be making him get a haircut before the tour, or would you roll with it?
I'm in no position to suggest people go for haircuts.
Okay, good point. You are in a position to start the final round of selection, though. It's round 15.
Well, I've got to, and I've been saving him till the end ever since everyone else picked their hooker, but I've got to play my Lions legend wildcard. I've mentioned throughout this about the importance of having someone that can scare the South Africans. So I've gone for someone from a scary movie. I've gone for Uncle Fester and Keith Wood at hooker.
Keith Wood at hooker. Brilliant. Not only was he scary, I think of that clearance kick he made in that second test against the Lions.
Just the ideal person to have on that tour, particularly if things are in lockdown, but great bloke, does so much around the field, such a lift, inspirational character, an extra captain in the squad, and he does so much around the pitch.
And he likes a kangaroo court, doesn't he?
Yeah, so it'd be fun. It'd be fun.
It'd be fun. Lawrence, you're up. Your final pick, please.
Well, I've actually I've got to pick a number 8. And I'm actually going to pick a number 8 that you probably didn't think I was going to pick, but I'm actually going to pick Billy Vunipola as number 8 because I think this series is as much about coaches getting the best out of the players as it is about the players playing well. And so far, we haven't managed to get the best out of Billy over the last 2 years, but having worked as a number 8 with Warren Gatland, he has the ability to get that little bit extra out of people. And he picked, let's not forget, Billy Vunipola when he was playing to the ability he knows he can play at. And let's cut him a bit of slack here, and haven't done that much at all because he only made about 3 metres in the first 3 games he played in the Six Nations. But at his very best, he could do that. And look, he went missing in the World Cup final, and he's got a chance to redeem himself in my back row. Billy Vunipola.
I thought you big him up and then bin him just a little bit, and then Sam. Welcome to our weekly world in the Gallagher Premiership. This is what it's like over lunch.
Is it me?
It's you, yeah.
So fullback, I was thinking I was going to go with Hugo Keenan, but actually I'm going to go with who I thought was Wales' best player in 2020. Hasn't played much because of Louis Sammett's emergence, but I'm going to go with Lee Halfpenny for his long-range kicking as well. So and defensive qualities, so Lee Halfpenny at 15, I think, is defensively, any 10 will tell you he's the hardest guy to play against. Just cannot find grasp when you play against him. Defensively very sound. Like I say, any penalty from 60 yards out, you've got that option to go for 3. So Lee Halfpenny at fullback.
And on that, Geordie, the power of the three-pointer in Lions tests, absolutely massive, getting those kicks.
Yeah, and obviously Lee Halfpenny does that for you. He's got a 55, 60 metre range, particularly at altitude. The ability to knock over 3 points is huge. Keep the scoreboard ticking over and keep the opposition under a little bit of pressure.
So why'd you not pick him then?
Because I thought in the selection of who are you going to pick as your first choice, Stuart Hogg's my first choice. Yeah. I thought he was the best player in the Six Nations. I thought he's the man for the job, so I couldn't pick Lee, but he was on the list.
He was on the list.
If someone else had Hogg.
Hoggy was your first choice.
Hoggy was my first choice.
You have the honour of finishing up this Lions draft. You have the last selection. Who are you going with?
I do, and I'm on the clock already, so thanks for distracting me. I'm looking at a winger. I've got options of Sean Maitland, who's done a fantastic job, Jordan Larmour, and James Lowe, who did great jobs. But I'm going on who I believe has got a huge ceiling in Jacob Stockdale. And I'm sticking him as another Irishman on the wing. Yeah, and he's looked better and better over the last few weeks as well. So fair play. Good stuff. All selected. Breathe. So now it begins. Our selectors have harnessed their inner Warren Gatlins and have got the job done. Now the decision on whose team will be on that metaphorical plane to South Africa lies in the hands of one man, Ali Eakin, who now, all that tension is just going shunk. And it's landed on Ali Eakin's little face there at the moment. But they're going to give one last pitch. You are now about to become judge and jury to the 4 guys. So you all are allowed to make one final pitch. It's all about Al now. All about Al. You can tell Ali why you think he should crown you and crown your team as the team that goes to South Africa. So, Lawrence, the floor is yours.
Well, Al, I mean, you got to look at my captain, Alan Wynne-Jones, who would be your captain. You know that in the team. He's the man to lead this triumphant British and Irish Lions. I've gone with combinations. Got the Leinster and, I think, European Cup winning combination at scrum half and fly half. I brought back the great Brian O'Driscoll at outside centre. We've got youth and real finishing ability in that back 3, and plenty to give the South Africans problems up front in that front row. So I've picked some good form players and some good legends too.
Geordie, your last pitch.
Yeah, likewise. I think there's a great balance to my side. Some exciting backs. I think that the front row of Joe Marler, Ken Owens and Andrew Porter is strong enough to compete up there. You got Willie John McBride in the second row with Johnny Gray, so some great balance, great beers post-game as well, I'd imagine, and a pretty sizable back row in order to give those fast, explosive backs an opportunity to compete.
That's it, and he's tapped into the history and the emotion of it all, Al. I like that. I know you get that. That tugs at you just a little bit. Benny, your final pitch.
Well, Jordan does have balance, but balance to be poor. Mine's balance to be absolutely spot on. You've got a lot of power in there. You've got people that can dent the line, and then you've got a lot of excitement in people that can carve up in a broken field. Johnny May, Jack Noel, Liam Williams, Sladen Davis. You've got good control in the halfbacks and a powerful forward pack that are going to cause problems on both sides of the ball.
And Sam?
My team, I think, because you've got 2 of the most prolific goal kickers that we've ever seen, the most powerful midfield that I think World Rugby could probably put out there. The forward pack is covered, littered with carriers and big hitters and all athletes, and you've got very experienced halfbacks.
Losing a fight is not something that you're used to doing very often, so I got to wonder, I mean, I guess just how tough was it for you to kind of cope with the results and start moving forward?
TV spectacular. So.
It wasn't tough at all, you know what I mean?
Lads, thank you so much. Really good insight, and also just an insight into your experiences as Lions tours as well. Thank you so much. Really good fun and really interesting. Ali, though, the pressure is on you now. I don't know how you pick a winner, but you're going to have to.
Were there any regrets at all? I know we had a bunch of hurdles, right? I mean, there were so many things that were difficult for you to get over just to get into that fight. So were there any regrets that maybe you didn't back out, maybe you didn't say,
but there we are, here we are.
No, I mean,
so many good players, some really great combinations. Let's start with Lowell's team. And Lowell, I love your back line in particular. It's really exciting. I love the notion that you might get Farrell and O'Driscoll playing alongside each other. You've got so much pace
there as well.
You
talk about the lessons you take out of it. When you talk about the lessons, is it
back three?
Specifics,
I just wonder if your selection got away from you a little bit in the back row.
To this game type of thing.
I'm not convinced that's who you would ultimately like to have at your disposal at 6, 7 and 8, given form and the rest of it, but it's a quality outfit, that's for sure. Geordie, you've gone heavy on the Irish, my friend. 8 Irishmen, no fewer than 8 Irishmen, 4 of them in the pack. A couple of Irish centres. I mean, we're loving the combinations, that's for sure.
Is this a matchup that you
there's
wanted
no
to see
doubt
put back
chemistry
together? Was
there
this like an
and
important
an
fight for you to
understanding, which
have
is
again?
really important. Got to hit the ground running.
It's really important
I would
for,
suggest you perhaps don't have that many form
future in the
forwards.
division, you know what I mean? Like,
People who've
things I
got
need to
that
work
in the
on,
bank
you know,
from
if I
recent
can't
Six
handle,
Nations, perhaps from
Nagy's
times
pressure, his
gone
wrestling,
by.
his grind,
But you've got
then
Willie
there's
John
no way I'm gonna be able to
McBride,
handle
and that's
Usman or
massive.
the guys up top, so
You know, the greatest
I
line
have
of
to
them
get
all,
through him to
arguably.
see
And you've got
where I'm
Finn
at.
Russell at 10, which
It does seem to be like one of those matchups that people try to avoid, right? You know, so you came back to it. I mean, was there something important there, like a message you
I
want
like
to
the
say?
fact you've been bold enough to go with Sam Simmons at 8. I think he could be really destructive on this trip. Again, I love your legends. You've gone for Keith Wood.
I noticed
many would call
it
him
seems
one of
like
the ultimate
a
Lions
recent
as
trend.
well.
You were like, man, I got on social
bigger
media.
at 10. I mean, it's got great possibilities. I just would be a little bit anxious about Conor Murray's form. He's been pushed quite hard by a number of different players in that position over the last season or two. Some great three quarters, though. My goodness, if you can release May, Slade, Davis, Noel, Liam Williams, you're going to be in the money, aren't you? So another great back division there. Sam, this is unquestionably the most power-packed of them all.
It's a fire, you know what I mean? That anger, that aggression, you know, like that's what drove me to get here in the first place. So, you know, I can't really let go of that.